going on, everybody? This is Lady Luck here again. Thank you so much for tuning in. All right, we have some information regarding um, these cults and cult of personalities. They're just a threat and danger to society as a whole. Um, and the feds raided the compound of the TikTok cult that was featured in a Netflix documentary. So I have been going over another cult that is still active, you can say, even though the cult leader is spending the rest of his life in jail plus 10 years. And that is from a great content creator who put a series together for the Eligio Bishop Nature Boy cult. Shout out to Hood Horrors. And we're going to go over show 6 today as well. I'm going to post that up. But it goes into just how dangerous these cults can be. And we, if we sit back and allow cults to thrive and grow and, you know, exist in the manner to which they do, you wind up, living in fear and terror because you don't know what the cult and the cult members, the cult leaders are capable of doing. We know based on history and other cults how many of them end in a loss of life. So it's very dangerous. There's nothing wrong with having an organization or group that does great work, and they are positive influence and change for the community. They can actually show tangible evidence of how they help and assist people. But a cult is not always about you know helping anyone. Most times it's not even about trying to you know spread this message, or the belief of the cult itself is oftentimes under some control or dictatorship of the messenger, of one individual, one or two individuals. And cult leaders take away the power and the free will, free speech, even down to the ability to just read and get information from outside influences. They cut you off and isolate you from your family. The danger and the threat that you face from a cult, could lead to acts of violence. Um, they're not beyond, illegal activity or criminal behavior. And that's one of the reasons why they shouldn't be allowed to thrive. The aspect of a cult goes against the aspect of freedom, that we enjoy here. So for them to be rated, it justified. There are a lot more cults that need to be rated, a lot more cults that need to be stopped. And if we recognize the signs of a cult, we can know how to report, aid in law enforcement in investigating and dismantling them, especially when they are prone to acts of violence, or they have the propensity to become violent and become a danger and a threat to this community that they reside in. So we're going to check out this video. Make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe to the Lady Luck Club. We are growing here, and I'm just ever so grateful for all the support that you guys show me here in the LLC. Also, consider becoming a member to the LLC. We have at least once a week. I try to get in a members only live stream, and we have a good time. And I, want to create a space where members can come in and talk about whatever they want, and be able to share ideas and just, even if you're expressing frustration and you're just getting it all off your chest and venting, you should be able to do that. And that's what the members only live allows the members of LLC to be able to do. So consider becoming a member, and if you would like to contribute to the channel, ways to donate will be in the description of the video below. So let's get to it. We're going to check out the new at 5. This is the news video reporting of the raid itself. So you guys, this is in LA. So Fox 11 posted this up. I would just caution you all. I haven't seen the whole thing. I've only seen a portion of that. I just rewind by. It's not a long video, but um, let's check this out. And hopefully, this is what reporting these codes. The FBI, the feds, they do investigate. And if there's enough evidence that is sufficient to, they do a raid to get, evidence. They will raid it. So let's get to it.
Now to this, a quiet Tahunga neighborhood rocked by flashbangs. Federal agents storm a property tied to the shocking allegations of sex trafficking. That dramatic raid today tied to an alleged TikTok cult.
Fox 11's Gina Silva. She joins us now live in Tahunga with more there. Gina?
Well, it may have started as a Netflix documentary, but now it is a full-blown federal investigation. Now, right behind me, this property is usually closed up tight every single day, but today, federal agents ran through that gate.
It sounded like gunshots to me.
Flashbangers.
In the early morning hours, local and federal law enforcement arrived in this quiet Tahunga neighborhood to serve a search warrant, alleging sex trafficking, money laundering, tax evasion, mail fraud.
Look at all the crimes related to this one code. And oftentimes you get this S trafficking, to come up because some of these codes are based on the aspect of this sexual freedom of some sort. They believe in polygamy, like Eligio Bishop and Nature Boy, or AKA Nature Boy, and Carbon Nation. He was just all about sleeping with whomever he wanted to. They didn't care about the spread of possible STDs or anything, any venereal diseases. They never even proved that they didn't have it, but the idea, the concept that there could have been a spread of venereal diseases. People did go to the cult, hoping that they would be somehow miraculously healed from the venereal diseases that they did have, which is what some of the members admitted to having. In videos, they posted up videos admitting to having venereal diseases. And all they did was, go there and then get persuaded to believe that they didn't need medication and that eating fruits would just cure them of it. And that was it, with no proof or evidence that they actually received medication or any medical treatment and was cured from a venereal disease. Certain, viral diseases might not be cured, but the symptoms be under control with medication. None of that. And yet they practice polygamy. So, a lot of the PDF rings now that are being brought to the limelight, a lot of these cults, that's kind of always the premise and foundation to it. It turns into some, S trafficking scenario. They mail fraud, money laundering, tax evasion, because they don't want to pay taxes on this compound and, think that they should just live free on the land. They don't care. So they're prone to criminality and illegal, criminal behavior and illegal conduct. And that's what draws the attention of the feds. But, they'll play the victim and cry help because they were rightfully so reported on. And now under, this cult here being under investigation, Eligio Bishop is in jail for the rest of his life, plus 10 years. So there's a common theme and pattern with these cults that people need to pay attention to.
And COVID-19 pandemic-related fraud.
It's really, really creepy, and this is a really great, quiet little community, and a lot of families.
Very creepy.
They must have rammed the gate to get in there. Look at that.
The front gate of the property lies mangled and twisted, clear evidence of a forced entry. Sky Fox captured video of 5 people in handcuffs. This is the same location tied to Shekinah Church and 7M Films, both at the center of serious allegations in a Netflix documentary released in May 2024.
7M, an entertainment company founded by Robert Shin, who's also the pastor of LA-based Shekinah Church.
The documentary, titled Dancing for the Devil, the 7M TikTok cult, alleges emotional and psychological manipulation.
It started out fairly innocuous, but the control slowly grew.
We feel liberated. We feel that finally maybe there's a chance for justice to be served.
Melanie Lee joined Shekinah Church at 15 and left in her 20s. She accuses Pastor Shin of abuse and running the group as a cult. After years of urging law enforcement to investigate, she now says she feels vindicated.
I know.
And years of urging the feds to investigate. Look how long it took them to get on this. the evidence has to be insurmountable. And we see a lot, I don't have TikTok personally, but I do see some of those TikTok videos that make its way to YouTube. And you notice the word brainwashing being highlighted here, because at the end of the day, that's what it is. They put this stuff out here on social media to get you to be drawn into what's going on. And yet you're talking about underage girls. She was brought into this at what, 15? That's underage. And then you get caught into this, and then you find yourself in this for years, being brainwashed, and then afraid to leave the cult. Because, cult leaders are oftentimes narcissistic. So it's about control. And if they can control the way you think, then the rest, it's just easy to take over. Your finances, your health, your mentality, your body physically. The rest is easy to take over once they get you mentally brainwashed. Once you're mentally under their control, everything else follows. That's why these cults should not be allowed to thrive.
A cult alleges emotional and psychological manipulation.
It started out fairly innocuous, but the control slowly grew.
Brainwashing.
We feel liberated. We feel that finally maybe there's a chance for justice to be served.
Melanie Lee joined Shekinah Church at 15 and left in her 20s. She accuses Pastor Shin of abuse and running the group as a cult. After years of urging law enforcement to investigate, she now says she feels vindicated.
I know for a fact that they will find things that he's done that are, evil, and he's a criminal. I can definitely say that, whatever's coming for him, he deserves it.
Wow. Yeah.
Right now, the search warrant is sealed, so we don't have an idea as to what the agents were looking for at this specific property. But former members say whatever it is, they're confident the agents will find it. I'll send it back to you in the studio.
How long, Gina, have federal investigators been working this case?
The documentary came out in May of 2024. We don't know how long ago this investigation started. And like I said, the search warrant is still sealed, so we don't know the details. But the former member we spoke with has been part of the investigation. And she says that they've been working very hard on this for quite some time. She didn't give me a timeline.
Gina Silva, thank you for your
wow. This is something else. This goes to show how these cults are so dangerous. They're so dangerous. And it starts with this cult of personality. And when you see this one person, they're intimidating, they're threatening, they're doxing, they're doing illegal things and conducting themselves in a manner to where, they believe they're above reproach and above the rule of law. How dare anyone report them to the feds? How dare they get investigated? This is what comes about. And this is how they're sometimes able to keep people at bay for a considerable amount of time by being threatening and intimidating and just inducing terror and fear into people. Forces people to pull back. I'm not going to touch it because I don't want them to do this. I don't want them to do that. But someone has to have some courage in all of this. If not, you find a cult taking over your neighborhood, taking over your community, terrorizing the citizens, the residents. They built some compound off $100,000, and now you can't get rid of them except by a raid through the FBI. And unfortunately, it shouldn't have to take drastic measures like that. But when it calls for you to have to file a complaint, do it. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to fall victim to this, and no one should have to live in terror or fear of anything. If you're doing things the right way, you should welcome an investigation, right? You shouldn't be angry and upset if someone does that. And if they try to retaliate by trying to have you doxxed, sue their asses and sleep peacefully. Hit them in the pockets. Many of them don't like to be hit in the pockets. They take over your finances and money, so they care about money, definitely. But I'm so glad they got raided. I'm going to check out the documentary, the Netflix documentary. It was aired in May of 2024. So it's so many documentaries dealing with cults because you have a lot of this cult of personality and uprisings of these cults that are coming about. And it's easy to allow one to grow and thrive if you're not paying attention, or if you don't recognize the signs, or if you're just scared and fearful and afraid to report and to confront it. And hopefully, the more content that we put out here in the LLC regarding Nature Boy and that cult, and touching on other cults and information that people need to know, will give people the courage to keep that from happening in their own communities. So thank you all so much for tuning in. There is more to come with this TikTok cult, and me learning more. So much information out there. I'm going to do some research on it. I'm going to check out the documentary, and we're going to go from there and monitor this federal investigation, and keep bringing forth the content so that you guys can be aware of what's happening. All right, until the next one, you guys take care. Thank you so much for watching and supporting. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe and share the content. All right, Lady Luck Club out. Deuces.